This is IBM Museum, and I'm finally back at programming my WinSIT program. That's the version that would run under Windows 3.0, Windows 3.11, Windows for Workgroups of the System Information Tool from IBM. I've gone through and, of course, shown the System Information Tool before. This is it on the where the page is on the Ardent tool, and of course I can go through and do links to that in the video description. There's pages that Major Thomas set up showing that the machines and adapters and processors that the System Information Tool reports, he's gone through and he's done a couple bug fixes on versions to straighten out various aspects that were misreported or wasn't reporting enough. In the case of masking, like the DBA ESDI drives. And I've gone through for my version, I'm going to be expanding it, covering other models or covering them more accurately as it is. I'll get to showing the program in just a moment here. But, you know, for that, I've even got my channel organized into playlists now. A lot of different playlists. The System Information Tool is the first playlist I had set up. Over time, I'll be going through and, you know, updating those videos and hope to have as many models as I can cover. And there'll be some point where I actually shift to, in the case of Windows, running it on, running my version of the program to show what's going on. Now, I've got the my Model 57. I've got the cover off. Don't have the front bezels on. Just have them displaced right now, which is perfectly fine for the use. I'm putting it here on the bench, and I'll probably go through and actually add a cartridge SCSI drive in there, so I can go through and switch or being able to transfer that media relatively easily from the system once I start writing the programs and getting it to where I can build it a little bit better. But I do have the books out. I've gone through and have done a little bit of programming today. I've gone through and actually I'm going to be sending out a diskette. I've got my label set up on the a template that I can go through and create diskette labels now, and run through the copy machine in the bypass tray, and came up with this. I'm going to be mailing this diskette out tomorrow. Tried to today, but of course that's Labor Day in the United States. And this is just actually one of the last revision that Major Tom did, bug fixing of the system of IBM System Information Tool on this one. I've gone through to where I don't quite have the Windows version that I'll show up for release yet, although I'll have to see what matter of time that's going to take. And I do have the books out for the Guide to the Windows API, books I've had for a year and place marked to go through and help me get back into VisualBasic mode and remembering things once again. And I want to see how this shows up with the webcam. I can go through and I can probably hide that out of the way just so we can see kind of the full screen here. And I'm not going for the 4x3 format on this screen. I think it may be where it's stretching things out a little bit, but that's fine for the demonstration here. So I've running the VisualBasic 4, and I've got a few different versions on this system. Just using the version 4 because it even has to where there's a 32-bit version as well of this. And of course, real easy to be portable between the two different types. It does say that it's VisualBasic 4.0 back there on the group collection. And go through, and I mean, there's even the potential to go through and support things like Windows 95 for this program and report the things. And what I was working on today was actually reporting the Windows version. And Windows at this level, of course, is a user interface, not really truly an operating system. It runs on top of DOS. But, you know, I mean, I'll stick with OS for the moment, I guess, and how I'm going to define, I guess, or the level I'm at right now. And I'll probably go through, let's actually go through, I mean, for the VisualBasic for Windows, I don't know how many people are familiar with it out there. Nice, easy way to set up basic programs back in the day. I did even a program I called Maximize that would go through and launch all the Windows accessories like Write and Paint and Notepad, would launch them full screen. And a little handy utility. I don't know where I've got the code for that. Wasn't that involved of a program, but I enjoyed using the VisualBasic back in the day. Now, of course, there is a VisualBasic for DOS that also came out, had one version out there. I do have that. I've actually even got it loaded on this system. That's the other development for a system information tool at that DOS level, at the DOS programming level, which I'll probably at least initially design in VisualBasic for DOS. That's another day, another video that I can go over that. But I've been working on the Windows version today. So what I went through today, and this is just launching the program, I'll go through and, you know, I can, I'm going with a lot of the format that the System Information Tool is in now. I've demoed a little bit of this before in a previous video. I'll go through and update things as far as in the end of the closing out of the program, or, you know, to making people aware that it's an exit of the program. Can go through and I'll probably add some graphics and things like that to kind of brand it for what I've done. Now, some of these forums I have coming up, I mean, some are not activated. Some I haven't completed those portions yet. Some are just even placeholders. Going through from the top, like I would be showing for the System Information Tool, I've got the adapter information. Now on this, I'm probably going to go through and come up with some sort of integrated database I can reference to report what the adapter ID is instead of just a hexadecimal value. And the POS values of the adapter, I'm going through and it's not retrieving any of those settings in this instance. But I would probably have this on a page once you go through and you click on the particular adapter, just like it is for the System Information Tool. And then it would show you later information and would show you the adapter ID and things like that. So there's going to be kind of an intermediary window, or this window will change a little bit, and we'll have a level to go through into the to go in deeper onto the adapter values. Now, in slot 5, that's the only slot that I do have filled. And I just have an async, an IBM async adapter in that slot, just really as a placeholder to go through and make sure my detection routine was working good and that it was able to read what the adapter ID was for that adapter. And so you can see, I mean, and that's real time from the system. So there's things like the disk information. I don't have code in there yet. The keyboard information, I'm going through and I'm taking some of the keyboard functionality call supported. I'm just having it print on this page. I'll go through and be more elaborate. Some of the things I can expand that the System Information Tool doesn't cover, like the keyboard ID. And I'm specifying that here, but I'm getting the same basic values for that keyboard information. Memory information is unpopulated, and that should be easy to work with the system. And I'll have to look at it basically in how Windows sets that up, the Windows 3.0 and 3.1, for how it really organizes memory and see how much information I can provide to that on that memory information. The miscellaneous technical information. Now in this, and for instance, I've got a blank here, kind of mid-window. And this is where I've pulled out some of the fields that were reported in the original SIT that I felt like the processor function call supported. Really, for me, I mean, I may go through and I'll still populate it maybe in this blank area, but I also have it more appropriately listed under the processor and model information. So really the same basic layout for the fields that I do have in here. About the second interrupt chip is present, real-time clock is present, wait on external event is unsupported, extended BIOS data area EBDA is allocated. Now this is a little bit extra where I've added a field, extended BIOS data area segment, and I've given it that's being populated real-time value of where that extended BIOS data area segment is. And then there's also a functionality for the size, and I'll get putting code in for that later on. System has a microchannel bus. DMA supports 24-bit address space. Return POS data call supported. Return memory map call supported. That blank line again. Information panel is not installed. Data streaming is unsupported. SCSI subsystem present on the system, and that's true for the SCSI on the planar of this Model 57. This is an IML system, also true. SCSI support is in the IML image. And what I'll do as well, I'm going to link in when I ran the System Information Tool on a Model 57, even though that was a Model 57 SLC, and this is a Model 57, so a 9557 with the 486 SLC 3 CPU on there. So the fastest board of the Model 57 planar. This is the section I went through and worked on today. Operating system information, MS-DOS version 7.0, and I think that's a PCDOS version. And then Windows version 3.10. I'll probably go to the point of splitting out a little bit of the determining whether it's MS-DOS or PCDOS at some point for the versions that both Microsoft and IBM released. Just a little bit of code to separate those out and properly report what those were. And as I say, for the Windows 95 version or the 32-bit version of going through, and I'll have to see how that's, incorporated within this window. And then the very much expanded as well is the model and processor information. So this is a PS2 Model 5746 SLC2 / 46 SLC3. Now, I will be able to, I may eventually go through and have code to figure this out a little bit better, because in this instance, the planar ID doesn't change. That's an addition that I've put it more at the top of that field, of the field at the top of the window. The System Information Tool has it down towards the bottom of this model and processor information, but may go through in detecting the CPU and going through and me being able to get that a little bit better than the regular System Information Tool from IBM. May go through and populate these fields a little bit better to say, hey, it's a 46 SLC3, and I could go through listing the speeds and things like that. But this model information is determined from the planar ID. There's the processor. It's a 46 SLC3 step 9 hex, which is the only value I found for the stepping. The third digit being the clock multiplier value internally. So that's where you could determine that it's the SLC3 instead of an SLC2. And the leading A is IBM's marking in that CPU reset signature, abbreviated as just a CPU ID in this instance. And 4 being the class of the CPU. And you can see that stepping value as the last digit. Okay, coprocessor, math coprocessor not present on the planar or CPU. And that's getting into, a 46DX level, having the math coprocessor actually on the CPU rather than necessarily the planar. Model F8 hex, submodel 38 hex, BIOS revision 4 hex. BIOS state, I have it even spelled out, different from SIT that listed as month, day, year. I have it more in this format to avoid confusion in that month and day field from the European versus the US, how that's listed, and even the day of the week being calculated here of that was on a Thursday. As I said before, from that miscellaneous technical information, I've actually moved this effective field here because it's more appropriate on this window. Enable, disable processor functions, call supported. I can probably have it listed on that miscellaneous technical information page as well. I just thought I'm going to go through and I'm going to optimize things a little bit better. I don't have it reporting the size of the L1 cache and the things like the processor function call would report whether that cache is enabled or disabled. But that's some code that I'll just go through. Now, I did kind of intend, I do have this grayed out view button. I did even think of there could be in the Windows side, and of course this being from a package that would be compressed, but the possibility even maybe to view a diagram or a planar layout being a possibility. But I just had that grayed for the moment. I haven't acted upon any of the building code for that. That's going to be a much later thing. I don't think I have anything else functional for the parallel and serial port information. Remember that the System Information Tool from IBM just reports the number of parallel and serial ports, does not report an IO address or anything like that. And that is possible. Even to the IRQ level, I can do it within that page once I get through and do coding. And then the video information, I don't have that functional as well. And I'll have to see what for the API that I can go through. And I can gain a little bit of the mode and resolutions for that. Now on this 46 SLC3, it's got XGA2 video built into the planer. And so there's going to be some models, of course, between the VGA level being rather low end and other models having the possibility for higher level video displays. Of course, those mid-level systems are going to be more likely to be running Windows. I mean, you wouldn't expect for the Model 50 or Model 60 may be less common for something of getting into Windows 3.11. More of a possibility of the Windows 3.0, but I can gain even the VGA information and things like that to populate this screen. So that's the basic layout of what I've got set up for this program so far. And I'll continue to go through and to work on it and get it better developed with time. But I thought that it would be good to provide an update and for me to get back involved with that for the longest time. I've been away from that and really haven't been as developing the way I need to. So if you enjoyed this content, click on that like button. And by all means, subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Invite your friends that are interested in this sort of content to also subscribe to my channel. My channel is growing in subscribers, but I want to see that number higher, of course. But that's all I have for now. This is IBM Museum. Thank you.